You see here on your right side a normal human man with about 180 centimeters, and next to him you see skeletons where we found documents or stories or legends about giants. The one before the last one on the left side is about 7 meter 60. I got the information that Father Carlos Crespi in the 1962 was called by people from Ecuador from a mountainside because a heavy storm brought down a part of a platform, and they found a lot of destroyed bones. And as they didn't know what kind of bones these are, they called Father Carlos Vaca, who was working in a hospital, and he recognized that these bones are from a human. But he also found out that this skeleton must have been the size of 7.6 meters. Here you see Professor J.J. Hertag, an American researcher, in front of the big human footstep in your own country. So that means giants also lived in South America. In South Africa. Here you can see a photo with some of the bones. Father Vaca recognized some of the bones and he described them. When I found the family, because he passed away just 1 month before I could find his niece, she allowed me to bring some of the bones with me to Vienna, and we had several researches in Vienna. This is a part of the skull, and it must be so old because some of the parts of this bone were already crystallized. This is one of the bones I brought with me, and it was identified by several scientists as a human heel bone. But the professor of anatomy of the Vienna University, he checked the bones, and finally he said, I cannot believe it. It looks definitely 100% like a human heel bone, but it is impossible because it is at least 5 times bigger. Next day, he visited me again, and he brought some of the human bones, real human bones, with him, and he compared it, and definitely he said, still it's impossible for me, but these are definitely human bones. The skeleton was 7.6 meters in size. This is another side of the bone. Here you have a part of the nose bone, also 5 times bigger. And that's a so-called os occipitale under the skull bone, which makes us able to turn the head. It's again 5 times bigger. We found old documents from a Spanish historian. He was half Inca and half Spanish. He was writing in 1576. Today we found several human skeletons at the coast of Esmeraldas in Ecuador, and they were all 5 times bigger than we were. At this time, a Spanish man had the size of about 150 centimeters. He was just a little bit smaller than me. In the Museum de las Culturas Aborigines in Cuenca, we found these eggs. The egg is 70 centimeters in size. It's granite, very heavy. You can even see where some rope was around it, and it was definitely used. In the museum, of course, it is mentioned as ceremonial eggs. And we did measurements with existing real stone axes, and the size of this one is again 5 times bigger. This is another big, like this size, stone axe, also in the same museum. And this is another one like this size. So that means a 70 centimeter stone axe wouldn't have been able to use for a normal human to use it or to handle it. But for a man with a size of 7.5, 7.6 meters, it would have been definitely possible. When I had the exhibition Unsolved Mysteries in Switzerland, we did a model of a 7.6 meter skeleton, which you can see part of it here, and you can see that the big man even didn't reach the knee of this skeleton. Here you can see part of the skeleton and the skull we had to do like this size that 2 men could hold it. Here we have a graphic of the South African petrified stone footprint, and we did a measurement of a normal man foot size of 1.7 meter. He would have a shoe size of number 41, and on the other side you see this guy's shoe size 177, and we measured out that he might have had 1.6 ton of weight. So now, of course, a normal scientist would say it is impossible in that size because the heart wouldn't be strong enough to take care of the blood pressure. But who knows when they really lived? And we have also animals in a very big size. We have plants in an oversize. So why not human could have had a big size? This is a skeleton of one of the giants they found in the jungle of Bolivia in some caves. The size of every skeleton was about 2.5, 2.6 meters. The interesting thing on these skulls is that the jaw is very much stronger than our jaw. The size, of course, with 2.6 meters, they have to have a bigger skull. But for me, the most interesting thing is that we, as Homo sapiens sapiens, we have the fontanella and we have 3 bone plates. These skulls do not have any bone plate. The whole top of the skull is closed. So that means for me, those skeletons cannot be Homo sapiens or any other known human type. I hope in 1 or 2 months I'm able to fly to Bolivia. We have the agreement with the army that we can visit those places. And then, of course, I ask them to bring at least 1 or 2 small bones with me that we can do a DNA analysis and an age dating in Vienna. I'm wondering what the result will be. This is a very huge stone found in a coal mine in USA. The coal in this area is around 68 million years by geologists, and you can see a petrified skull in the stone, which is also much bigger than a model of a human skull seen on the same photo. We had this stone also in Europe, and if you knocked on the top of this skull, you can hear that inside it was whole. That means, for me, it looks really that this is an original fossilized human skull, but also oversized. This is one of several skeletons found in Utah, in the United States. Most of these skeletons had also the size between 2.5 and 2.6, 2.7 meters. If they would have found only one skeleton like this, of course, most of the scientists would immediately say that was a kind of sickness, because also in our days we have several people with a very big size, with a very big size of 2.5 meters, 2.3 meters, but they have a kind of sickness. So if it would be just one skeleton, I would agree, but in Utah they found several of them, and altogether very close in some caves. That's another skeleton from the same place, Utah in United States. This is an old photo from a museum in Malta in the Mediterranean, and you see here several very strange skulls, elongated skulls, but to the back side. And a few years ago, these skulls were no more seen in the museum. And a friend of mine, an Italian publisher of an archaeological magazine, went there with the Italian television, and with the help of the ministry, they got the allowance to visit the museum. And the director was searching long time until he found in the storage the skulls in a box, and he brought the skulls. And you can see here, again, a very strange thing. Normal human, we have 3 stone plates, and this elongated skull has only one bone line square over the skull. So for me also, it would be very interesting, and I'm wondering why they never did yet an age dating and especially a DNA analysis. It's so far interesting because in Malta you have also many big stone monuments and stone buildings. Archaeological dating is going back several thousands of years, but still I think those buildings are much older than we know until today. Here you have a human dam found in close to Israel, and here is the comparison with a normal on top and this human dam. Also, this human must have been a real big size. This is a drawing of a man, of a researcher from Utah, United States. He found a cave, and as he didn't bring a camera, and he's not using a camera normally, he made a drawing of 2 mummies he found inside that cave. The man had the size of 3 meters, red hair, and a long beard, and a kind of armor, and a big sword with him. The lady was blonde, 2.7 meters, and he brought out of this cave 60 stone boxes, perfect done stone boxes, and every of these boxes included many bronze plates with a completely unknown writing. And you can see that the boxes were covered with organic material, and the age dating he did on the covering material gave the result of 4,800 plus minus 100 years. Here you see many of the bronze plates, and you can see that the writing, it looks a little bit like the Sumerian writing, but it is completely different. And on this one, you see the ink carving like he did the drawing of the lady mummy. This is another bronze plate from the same stone boxes.